It's very, very difficult for somebody on set to do something to a kid because they're never really left by themselves. That's my opinion. I'm not gonna back off because somebody's gonna email me and text me and play it on my damn phone. That's my opinion about it.
Miss Angel Massey, welcome to your first one-on-one with Hype Plus. Can you tell the audience who you are, just establish where we're about to go in this conversation?
So my name is Angel Massey. I am the proud mother of Christopher and Kyle Massey. You guys know them from Disney Channel and Nickelodeon television shows. That's So Raven, Corey in the House, Kyle from Dancing with the Stars, Christopher from Zoe 101, Zoe 102, and just recently on BMF. He just had to cut some fingers off on BMF on Friday's episode. And so making history, both Christopher and Kyle Massey made history by being the first African-American siblings, the first siblings to be nominated in the same category at the same time for an Emmy for outstanding children's programming. Kyle was we made history with Kyle being the first Black male to be in the lead of a Disney Channel series worldwide. We're worldwide like Tide, and right. I am the proud mother of Christopher and Kyle Massey.
So, hearing that, clearly you've been someone that's been in the industry for, I think, 30 plus years.
32 years.
32 years.
Christopher's 34. We started when he was 2 years old, so 32 years pre-social media.
So y'all not new to this?
Oh, we're not new to this. We've been doing this a really long time.
Right.
Long before social media and followers and YouTube and Instagram and all that stuff. We've been in this 32 years. Christopher started when he was 2 years old, and he's 34 years old now. So we've been in it a long time. So slow and steady.
How I caught wind of you, because of course I know your sons. Damn near, I definitely watched That's So Raven when I was a kid. And so I know about your sons, and then I see moms popping up on the blogs, because now she's responding to this whole thing with Dan Schneider, as well as the Quiet on Set. And that kind of is why we're here today.
Okay.
So can you walk through what compelled you to want to say something about Dan in the first place?
That's a really great question. So my family and my son and our experience with Nickelodeon and Dan Schneider was nothing less than stellar. It was a fantastic opportunity. And also we learned a lot. We've been, had an opportunity to be exposed to a lot of great people, opportunities, and we're famous. We're worldwide famous because of him, because of Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon and Disney are the Rolls Royces of children's television, and my two Black male children are a part of that machine, those machines. So, and let me tell you a really fascinating story about Dan Schneider. So, after the show was over, after Zoe 101 was over, my ex-husband, Christopher and Kyle's dad, my ex-husband at the time, we had a meeting with Dan Schneider to potentially do something with Christopher and Kyle together, write something for them together.
Wow.
So he said to us, we never knew this in real time of working on the show, but he told us, he said, something, I have to share this with you guys. He said, Christopher wasn't the strongest actor that he knew. He said, but he gave him a shot because he was a good person and he came from a great family. So Christopher actually, when he auditioned for Zoe 101, he auditioned for just the pilot. He only had 2 lines for 1 episode. He was not even written in as a reoccurring or anything like that. And that episode, he got along with all the kids, the studio teachers, all the parents loved us, on the back end of the camera, on the other side of the camera. And they didn't have any Black kids on the show. It was an all white show. Christopher was one of the kind of like an extra with 2 lines at the very end of the credits coming up. His lines, he came in and he says, "Is Zoe in? Has anybody seen Zoe?" Okay. That's how the show ended. And that particular pilot episode led him into a series regular and the only black kid on the show, and pretty much the only black kid in all of the whole series because there were not even very many black extras.
Yeah.
On Zoe 101.
That had to be really difficult.
And so we were the black character on the show because we were such an exemplary family, and Christopher was an exemplary person. So for me to know that we didn't have any of those type experiences, I felt like it was my duty as a human being to say, you know what, Dan, I'm not co-signing, on any of that stuff. One, because we never experienced it, and two, we know how the media can be.
Right.
And I felt like it was the right thing to do for me, from my little small page with only 3,000 followers. It was my business, my compliment to Dan Schneider, and then the floodgates.
Yeah, it did.
Blame the parents. And in that specific instance, I'm still not backing off of blame the parents. Because according to, I didn't see the documentary, I won't see the documentary. Okay. I won't be giving it, an ounce of my time or viewership. So according to what I saw from Law and Crime, which is a legitimately honorable site as it relates to law and crime. So because there was some criminal activity involved in the accusation, I picked my viewership and gave it to Law and Crime. Okay. And they picked the clip where it says that little boy, which happened to be the name that we know, his mother allowed that man to pick him up, take him to set, wrangle him, babysit him, whatever you want to call it, and spend the night with him. In that instance, that's her fault, period.
Yeah.
Nobody else can be blamed for that, in my opinion. That's my opinion, being a parent. Now, had something happened to him on set, in the bathroom, behind the building, in hair and makeup and wardrobe, that may be a different conversation. But as it relates to how it was presented on set, whatever it is, the quiet on set, that was her fault. That was her fault. That was his mother's fault for putting her child potentially in harm's way with someone she didn't know. And you know what else is said to me? Because of the way the justice system is set up. And the way that there has been so many wrongfully convicted people that we see on the internet all the time. 19 years, they were let go, they were found not, and then they get let go. And then the system says, oh yeah, my bad, we got it wrong. To me, so again, this is my personal opinion. When you have, how many did they say, 41 character witnesses for the guy?
I can look it up.
It was 41 character witnesses for the guy, wrote character witnesses for this guy. In my opinion, that says that they didn't believe him. Because that is hard to go against a kid when someone has done something to them that they don't have any business doing. To me, that's what that behavior said to me. And it said that to me because my son, Kyle, is in a situation where he's being falsely accused.
Right.
And with all the evidence out there, the detective that lied and said that he arrested my son, and he didn't.
No, you're saying that there was 40-something people that wrote letters in support of Brian Peck?
Right. It was 41 character witnesses,
right? To not believe the...
So to me, do you see that number?
I just see like someone put 40-something.
So what I'm saying is, now, to me, when you have 41 character people writing a statement for your character about something that was illegally done, for 41 people to go and stand up for that person. I don't know anything about the situation. So I wasn't there. I don't know. So what I'm saying is, to me, that says to me that they did not potentially believe that person's story. To me. And we can also base it on the fact that it's hard to go against a kid because kids typically don't lie.
Correct.
Kids gonna tell you the truth.
Correct.
They're not gonna lie. But then we do have people that lie, little kids that lie. Like
or told to lie.
Check this out. Like the little girl that it was a little girl here in Atlanta, Georgia. I think it was Deerfield Elementary School. Okay. She made up a whole lie about a man trying to steal her off the playground. She was 9 years old. She was a liar. She was a liar. The little girl told a bald-faced lie.
Right.
Had channel 2, 5, 11. It was all over the news. It was CNN everywhere. But she lied. So kids do lie. And you have to, when you try to take someone's freedom away from them, you have to be real careful. And you have to use your critical thinking skills. And for 41 people to say, I'm standing up for this guy, to me, it says that it was something about that story that they just did not buy into. That's my opinion. I'm not going to back off because somebody's going to email me and text me and play it on my damn phone. I'm telling you now, I'm not backing off. That's my opinion about it.
Yes, and so it said that he received 41 letters of support and unsealed court documents.
Character witnesses.
Yeah.
So to the judge.
So for me, the reason why I brought you up here is because, typically you would hear people going for they kind of go with what the group is feeling.
That's right. And you shouldn't do that when it's someone's freedom and livelihood on the line.
Right.
Because it's been people that has been wrongfully convicted. Brian Banks is one of them. He went to jail for raping a little girl that he never raped. He was a felon. He went through the whole justice system. He went through the whole judge, jury, prosecution, and the allegation, and it turned out to be a lie. So I'm not following the leader. I use my critical thinking skills, and I look at all the situations, and it's hard to rate to me. For me, now this is just Angel Massey speaking. This is not about real victims. I'm not talking about this. This statement is not about a real victim that has gotten victimized, because rape is a crime of strength. Okay, so that part of it, I can respectfully agree with anybody at any time. What I don't agree with is, how can you say it might be a power of strength when you're trying to take my vagina, but IBDAMN if you're gonna get me to suck your penis with your penis in my mouth and it's still attached to you.
Understood.
Your ass is lying. You lying. Because why don't he have teeth marks on his penis? Why don't you have skin in your teeth?
What if it's through coercion of being a kid and manipulating?
Okay, now that's different. I'm not talking about people that's really, I'm talking about grown women, 16-year-old boys and girls that know how to use their teeth and know how to, they teach us in kindergarten to kick the man in his penis, scream real loud, bite, scratch, scream, run. So why do these people, these Me Too people, some of them, a lot of them, they don't have anything under their nails. They wait 20 years.
Oh, Lord.
They don't have nothing. The man's still walking around with his penis. Come on, dude, that, you lying. And so that man is someone's son.
Right.
He's someone's dad. He's someone's brother. He's someone's husband. So then it make me have to say, what about the little girl in elementary school that lied and had the whole world on her side because she was a kid, because she was vulnerable, because she was a child, because she was a little girl? Now, what happens if, my son or your dad or your brother was walking down Campbellton Road that day and she says, that was him? No, you lying. You made up this whole story. Now, someone's life has been uprooted and altered because of a lie. And when people tell lies, they have to stick to them. They have to keep going with them. And that's the sad, scary part, when you start taking away people's freedom and livelihoods and stuff like that. And I don't agree with it.
So I wanted to kind of pinpoint this part of the conversation. Dan Schneider is a white man.
Yeah, he is.
So that became a big thing where people were kind of labeling you like a sellout for saying why would you, defend this white man? Are you kind of more so letting the audience now know in this conversation that you felt compelled to speak up because of how it might even relate to your own son, or
No, well, what it is it's so interesting because I couldn't say all these things that I'm saying now on social media because my account would have gotten taken and I need my account.
Okay.
But so the thing of it is the same, this is what's interesting. The same people, first of all, what I learned through this whole, these people saying negative things about me, 95% of those accounts that were saying negative things about me and that were being extremely racist and disrespectful and reckless and go kill yourself and all that, they were bot accounts. They were accounts that people pay for comments, they pay for followers, and they pay for likes. There are companies that sell comments.
Yeah.
They're companies that sell likes and sell followers. So I clicked on the majority of them, and the majority of them were private accounts with 0 followers and 0 likes. They were just brand new accounts. So I realized, okay, I said, so I see how this goes. And then the 5% that were real accounts, they had real followers, they were so low class and low character until when you look at their accounts, it made sense as to why they thought that way. But what's interesting is all of them go to a job every day or not. Okay, but let's just stay with the ones that go to a job every day.
Okay.
9 times out of 10, that job that they go to every day is owned by somebody white. So you do like white people because white people pay you. So don't come at me saying that I'm racist because you go to work for the white folks every day and you do what they tell you to do. And you know when you do it? When you get that evaluation and they say you were late 5 times last month, you didn't do your job, you were late coming back from lunch, you don't work for black people? Yeah, and the world is diverse. It's a diverse place. So these buildings that we rent from and these jobs that we go on, they're owned by white people. We all doing our own thing. We have our space in society where we've come up with ideas, and but if you work in a plaza and you got to pay rent to the plaza, you work for your livelihood is dependent on somebody else. So, but I can't say that on the internet because then I'll be looking like a pompous asshole.
Yeah.
An arrogant asshole, but don't say things to me that don't make sense and you don't even apply them. It was this one account, a little girl and her mom.
Okay.
That the little girl had the mama, they were sitting down, they got like 200 and some thousand followers too. Okay. Which I think is interesting. They said something negative about me. The lady did a whole video about me.
Wow.
She did a whole video about me. She got a little girl that goes to a majority white school in Buckhead. She did a video about the little girl being on her cycle.
Wow.
On the internet, a middle school little girl with her mother sitting next to her.
Okay.
And then also talking about she didn't go to the school to fight that day. And she's saying something, talking about me blame the parents.
Right.
You're a blame the parent because one, you don't endorse being disrespectful to your teachers, your daughter's teachers at school. That's the reason why the school's so jacked up, because the mamas come up there. You did it to my daughter and I don't play that. Okay, so you dooming your child.
Right.
Your child is set up for failure because of you. You cannot blame the teachers. You can't blame the principal. You can't blame white people. You got to blame yourself. Why would you let your middle school little girl sit up and have a conversation about her cycle, which is something personal,
right,
on the internet? But you think it's funny and you think it's cute.
Well, I think
there's 200,000 people following you on your ignorance.
I was going to say, I think that's the part of the conversation where it's like, who's protecting the kids? Because
nobody.
Even in the industry of Hollywood, that's the conversation now.
Yeah.
But what I've heard, we've had Damon Wilson on here from Sanford and Son.
Okay.
His perspective is that some of these parents are living through their children.
Yeah.
So therefore they allow them to kind of do certain things and, embellish and all that. Why do you think these things have been happening to kids? Are you just saying flat out, we're going to blame the parents for not doing their job? Or should there be more of a union that is protecting them from a day-to-day so we can avoid this?
So that's a great question. So there is a union. It's called Screen Actors Guild.
Right.
And there are people and things in place. That's the reason why it's very difficult for some of these things to have happened without supervision, because it is the law.
Right.
In the state of California that you have to be in sight and sound of your child when they're on set. It's the law. There's rules in place. There's nobody's exempting a parent from being within sight and sound of their child. That's child labor laws.
Right.
That's Screen Actors Guild.
So that means a parent always has at least one parent.
What that means is, that's a great question. So that means that if the parents are not there, that means that they have to sign over another adult, because kids can't get dropped off at the set like they get dropped off at the skating rink or the bowling alley or the movies. That is absolutely not allowed, contrary to what people may think. You're not allowed to drop your child, your minor child, off under 18 years old at the set without an adult over 18 supervision. That is mandatory. So that means that when this said person from Quiet on Set signed her child over to the said person to be responsible for him, again, whose fault is that?
Right.
That's your fault, lady.
Right.
Lady, that is your fault. Blame the parent. Hashtag blame the parent. I'm not backing off that comment.
And I think
I'm not backing off of it.
So
that's your fault.
I think part of the backlash or the blowback that you got is because you're being very unfiltered about it too.
Because it's the truth.
But
because see, the people don't know that you can't do that. The sets are not skating rinks. They're not bowling alleys. They're not sleepovers. They're not the mall. They're not the movie theater. They're not football games. They're not baseball games. They're not basketball games. They're not school dances. You cannot drop your kid off and then come back 2 hours later. You can't do that. That's not even
Legally.
allowed.
Right.
So the dumb people on the internet that don't know nothing and that follow the brainwashables is what I call them, you get that kind of commentation. But if I said these things on the internet, then my account would get shut down. You understand?
Well,
so
we don't get shut down.
No, you're not gonna get shut down because you're an entity. You're a blogger.
Right.
But I can't say these things to some person that is a brainwashable.
Yeah.
Or a hashtag blame the parent.
But is there a level of empathy? Because I want to make sure that we try to focus on that, because that's where I think you're becoming villainized. Is like you're just saying, "Hey, blame the kids. That was y'all problem." But there might be real victims in this atmosphere. Where's Angel Massey on that?
So I said that I'm not talking about a real victim. Okay, I'm talking about Me Too abusers, and I'm talking about opportunists. Because everybody that is at a set is not there for the right reason or the same reason, or a reason that is always ethical. Just like the same thing with some people that go to church. It's not going there for church. They're going there to slip and fall. They're going there to find a husband. They're going there to steal. You have to know your personnel everywhere you go. And you also have to use your brain, because again, what I do is I'm being the person that says, look, I have a son and they both black.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that being said, I have to look at everything from all the different lenses as much as I can.
How it can play out.
And when I do that, it's being fair to everybody. Because I'm not going to just condemn you or somebody because they're white.
Yeah.
And I'm just not going to just defend you because you're black. If you black and wrong, you black and wrong. You know what I mean? And if you white and wrong, you white and wrong.
Right.
The 2 examples. Brian Banks, it was a black girl that falsely accused him.
Okay.
She was black like me and you. She was black. She needed a perm and braids. She was a black girl that straight up told a lie on this man, this little young guy. Marcus Dixon was accused by a white lady, a white girl in high school. So it's not a black or white issue. It's a right or wrong issue. So I'm not racist. I'm not unsympathetic. Just don't come at me without giving me all of the information first. Because I'm not going to jump on your bandwagon just because it's moving fast to hell. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. Now
I'm not going to do that.
Now, what I thought is another layer, because, I'm looking from the outside in. You've seen all these people come out. But I also noticed that there is a trend taking place, and it does deal with race. I did an interview with Bobby J. Thompson.
Yeah.
He was on Nickelodeon as well.
No, he was on Disney. He was on with us. He was on both.
He was on both, correct.
Yeah,
He was on. He did Just Jordan, and he did
That's So
Raven
Raven.
too,
That's right.
Stanley.
Yeah, that's right.
Come on.
He was out Stanley.
So full circle. So I had an interview with him about this topic, and he said, "Now my mama didn't play that."
Listen, Bobby J got his behind whooped on set in front of the whole on camera.
Oh wow!
Listen, because and again, we had a conversation about it too, because we, like he said, don't blame us, the kids that had their families on set every day.
Right.
My son Kyle did 100 episodes of That's So Raven. I never went to 7-Eleven on the corner.
What you mean? You never left and just
Listen, I'm gonna say it one more time. I'm gonna look right at my son did 100 episodes of That's So Raven, and we did Corey in the House. I never left to go to the bank, to go to 7-Eleven, to go get food, to go put gas in my car, to wash my. I never left the set. Christopher had my Aunt Bunny, my family members from Atlanta, blood family members, DNA blood family members, not some friend, not somebody else's mama on the set. My DNA blood family members and my husband, Chris McCow's dad, biological dad, had him every summer because I had 2 kids that worked every summer.
Right.
So I physically couldn't be in 2 places, but both places, I stayed 100 episodes with Kyle. Everybody else, that was their summer job. They came every summer, went to Pepperdine University, and that was their summer job, wrangling Christopher to Zoe 101 because he didn't have a driver's license at the time.
Okay.
Nobody was ever left by themselves.
And that was a code that you knew you had to do, because what I was trying to point out is that,
Well, it's mandatory.
well, it seemed like a lot of the black parents, like, I wonder, do they know not to try the black kids is what I'm trying to get
Well,
at.
I don't even see, that's just it. So with that question, what you're doing, see, and that's the power of the media, and that's the power of the narrative. So when you just ask that question, that means that you're believing what let me tell you what, you understand, you're believing that. It's really, let me say this one more time, it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult for somebody on set to do something to a kid because they're never really left by themselves. They're either hair and makeup, they're either in wardrobe,
Understood.
or they're either in school or they're filming. And the wardrobe department is like here. It's people.
So the only person that can grant them more time with that kid would be the parents.
No.
Or give them the access.
No, there is no more granting. No.
Well, I'm saying with
there's no granting
the young
anything.
lady, the mom that was able to that the sleepover aspect, that was her giving
She
more.
gave her son
Right,
to him.
that's what I'm saying, more.
She gave her son to that guy. She gave her son to that guy. And we're still assuming that he really did that, because even with the criminal conviction, like Brian Banks and Marcus Dixon, it still could be eventually found that he did or he didn't. I'm not on either side of it. What I'm saying is I'm giving you the facts. Brian Banks was falsely accused and Marcus Dixon was falsely accused. You understand? So
I get it. And we hear all the time.
And the little girl from Atlanta at the Deerfield Elementary School, she was a liar. So we always tend to take the victim to be the person that's telling the story first. And the person that's telling the story first, not always the victim. Right. That's true too. So I'm not backing off my position because I know how it works. You understand?
Yeah.
And I'm not being hard and I'm not being insensitive, because if somebody, I know one thing, I'm not gonna say that I ain't gonna never get raped. I've never been raped. I've never been taken advantage of, nothing.
Okay.
If that time ever presents itself to me, I can assure you, if I'm awake and alert, and somebody put their penis in my, like you hear these cases all the time. Oh, I woke up and he made me give him oral sex. How does somebody make you give them oral sex? Can somebody explain that to me?
I would say the pushback is based off what I've heard.
I would bite it off. It would be in my mouth.
There's some women that they can find themselves so uncomfortable that they freeze up in the moment.
Okay, so that, you know what?
Because I think that's me trying to make sure the other voice is heard.
Guess that's fine, but guess what? Why not just bite it off? That's what they teach us in kindergarten.
I understand that.
The crime dog, what's it, Smokey the crime, McGruff the crime dog, he teach you what to do from when you're kindergarten. He don't say you freeze up. He tell you to kick him in his private, bite, scream, yell.
But I think too, because the only reason why I'm kind of gonna hit you back with it is only because I've heard other women speak out that were victims. At least that's what their real perspective was, and they said that they would freeze up, or you don't know how you react in the moment because you've never been through it too, right? So
no, I haven't. And
you
also,
say that, we all say stuff.
And I understand that, and don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that I'm being insensitive to somebody else, but I'm also not going to give them more credit than I give my own sons either. Because I got to look out for my sons too. And if I'm on the jury, You got to take that. You got to take all that out of your brain because you got to go with the facts, and you got to go with and then if something don't sound right to you, you have a right to say to your other jury people, something is missing here. Because just because the prosecutor said over and over and over and over and over again, like King County did with my son, they arrested him and he had a previous conviction. And they said it, and they wrote it, and they saying it, and they saying it, and they saying it, and it's not true.
Right. And I want to kind of get
It's not
into
even
that
true.
space. My question for you is, what are you telling your sons, or what did you tell your sons as they were coming up? Because two factors is they're seeing a lot of money come in quickly. They're seeing a lot of attention now. They're also the only black kids in their spaces, and we have to be real. There is some type of layer to that as well. What are you telling your kids when they were coming up, or even now?
So coming up, it's just your character got to be intact. Your character has to be intact, because when somebody tell a lie on you, your character does come into play. So if you're already a person that can't nobody trust you, you're a mess, you're arrogant, you're aggressive, you're belligerent, you're disrespectful, you become a believable story. Again, I'm only giving you facts as to what I know. And what I try to do is give you facts that everybody has become to know. Michael Irvin didn't even know the girl. He never went to bed with the lady. He didn't know her, probably didn't even know her name. Happened in the middle of the lobby at the Marriott Hotel.
Right.
He got hemmed up off of a lie. So guess what? The Marriott now had to take the blunt of this girl lying because they got sued for taking her side. He never even knew that lady. He never was in the elevator with her. He didn't work with her. She wasn't his co-worker. She wasn't his ex-girlfriend. She wasn't his housekeeper. She was nobody to him. Just a person that was in the lobby. But her word had so much weight. Her lies had so much weight that it slandered his name temporarily. For what? For what? For a headline? For TMZ to just, you know what I mean, to just get a story to, when your brain automatically says, well, wait a minute, you can't prove what if you're looking at a camera with no audio and you got two people just talking, how do you believe what she said and you can't hear what she said?
Right.
How does that work?
Right. And when the video did drop, people was like, oh, come on.
But do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. But see that right there. So when TMZ, when they release these stories, it's like,
yeah, we can get into it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, like you're an attorney doubling as a sleazy journalist, because our story was released by TMZ. Okay. Specifically.
And what story is that?
The story about my son being falsely accused and wanted and all of that stuff. Okay. But we have to also remember that TMZ, Harvey Levins, is known for paying for stories. You can Google it. Anybody can go type in, does TMZ Harvey Levins pay for stories? Right. And the answer is going to be yes.
It's a business model, I would assume.
He paid for stories. And when you go to your attorney, you don't have to say, I swear that the whole truth, nothing but truth, so help me God. So that becomes litigation privilege. You can go to your attorney and say, whatever. They go file it. Does he pay for that? Because he always on top of the story at the beginning. He always run the story. He always the person that call you and ask you for your quote.
Dang.
Get a statement.
Like Monopoly.
And then he always the one that tells the truth about it. And then he going to the bank making money off of his sleazy journalism and being a sleazy attorney, because he knows he knew that my son was not guilty of that situation. He knew him, Evan Burke and Lee Hutton, they're all friends. Lee Hutton, which was Kyle's attorney at the time, I have a voice recording of him saying, it's all over my internet, all over my Facebook, and all over my Instagram. So nobody is going to be in trouble because you can pull it from my Instagram. It's already out there in the public. Lee Hutton, he told us that Evan Burke, that TMZ they assign people, producers to celebrities. That's what Lee Hutton told us, the black attorney guy that Kyle had. They assign people, producers, and people inside of TMZ to certain celebrities. And Evan Burke was assigned to Kyle Massey. Okay? Evan Burke is the only one, according to Lee Hutton, that can write about Kyle Massey. So he says verbatim, if Kyle as so much so steals a pack of bubble gum, Evan Burke is the one that writes about it at TMZ.
Okay.
And he also told us that Harvey Levins is his friend. They're both attorneys, so that makes sense. And so what he did was when that story was released from King County and said Kyle had a previous conviction and that Kyle had been arrested, okay? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't Evan Burke have already known that Kyle was arrested? And wouldn't Evan Burke and TMZ have already had Kyle's mugshot from this arrest?
Right. Yeah.
TMZ they're the sharks of shit. They know everybody's business. How in the world does TMZ, Harvey Levins, Evan Burke don't have Kyle's mugshot? You know why? Because he's never been arrested. You know why they don't have a previous conviction on Kyle? Because it never happened. It never happened. It was a lie. And they knew it when they pressed send on my son. They knew it was a lie. Mm. But you know what? But they got their little arm of being a sleazy journalist and having the litigation privilege where it was considered public record. But did he pay for that public record? Because he is known for paying for stories. How does he always just happen to get the story? I mean, I've seen him record. I've sent TMZ recordings of Lee Hutton. I sent them recordings of Lee Hutton saying King County, that he agreed with us that King County is corrupt. I've sent them recordings that Lee Hutton said that they're prosecutors all across the country throwing black people in jail and they know it. But TMZ refused to run the story because the truth is not what they do. They do trash.
I was gonna say
they do trash, but they ran the story, thought that it was gonna be my son's demise. But I've asked them humbly for help. Look, help us to get back to work by running the truth. I'm not asking for no favors. I'm not giving you no damn money. I'm saying do the right thing because you know it's the right thing to do. But Sleazeball rather sit up and then go and run stories on everybody when he got a whole open case right now where he got toxic workplace, him, Warner Brothers, Harvey Levins, TMZ, they're all named misogynistic workplace, toxic workplace, racism, sexism in the workplace. Google it.
Yeah.
Google it.
I've seen a couple of those headlines. And let me ask you this question, right? We just covered different layers of being, one, a person in the industry, then also having children in the industry. Kind of as we close this out, why did you decide to put your children in the industry knowing what those obstacles can be, knowing that these things could possibly happen? So
that question is a question that people ask all the time. And then this is my answer to that question. So there's nothing to know in advance. That's someone else's narrative. It's the same thing like when people put their kids in T-ball. Something for them to do, physical activity. And then the kids that show prowess in T-ball, they continue with baseball, and then they continue to D1 league, and then they continue to the pros. The ones that continue to show prowess in baseball. Mm-hmm. Same like basketball. Kevin Garnett was playing basketball. His mom didn't even know he was on the basketball team.
Okay.
And he went straight to the NBA from high school. Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Venus and Serena Williams with tennis. They started when Tiger Woods started, his dad started him in golf when he was 2 years old. Mm-hmm. There's no difference in any gymnastics, soccer, cheerleading, dance. There's nothing no different than anybody else's parents do for their children when they're kids. And when they show prowess, they continue and they keep going.
Understood.
We in the industry get the narrative because we're the ones that people get to see their progress because we're on TV.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, so you feel this has been constantly like,
it's okay. So is there a difference? Is there a difference in what Tiger Woods' daddy did with him at 2 years old, and now and he's one of the world renowned golfers?
I think it's just because of the stigma of Hollywood. It's an exploitation.
It's the narrative that has been stuck on Hollywood because the parents in Hollywood are not doing anything any differently than the parents do with anything else.
Right, Nick.
My nephew, Zion Grady, is the #1 football player, defensive edge rusher in the country. Zion Grady. Google him. # Zion Grady. That's my nephew. That is my brother's son. He has always been the biggest kid in Pee Wee football on his team for his league. If it was 5 and 6, he looked like he was 10. If it was 7 and 8, he looked like he was 12. If it was 10 and 11, he looked like he was
He
somebody.
just went to Ohio State, right?
What?
He just committed to Ohio State? Or
No.
he's at Ohio State?
No, it don't say that. It says he got an offer from Ohio State.
Got you. Well,
I mean, unless he just committed while I was being here. But so my point is, we had 29 college offers before he entered his junior year of high school. He just committed to Alabama, and then when Nick Saban retired, he decommitted from Alabama. So my point is, what else was he supposed to do? It was either going to be football, it was going to be basketball, it was going to be something in sports. He was always the biggest kid everywhere he went. So was his mom supposed to be like, you know what? I'm going to wait till he turned 18, let him decide what he want to do. When all these people around him are going, whoa, you should put him on the basketball team. You should put him in football. And he's good on the football field. So would she have been doing a disservice to him by making him wait till he turned 18 to play football? Who does that? Nobody does that. And the industry parents don't do that either.
I get it.
You understand? So that's just a stigma that everyone else's narrative is about us. And that's the reason why I had no problem being, the punching bag for the voice of parent-child stars.
Yeah.
We the hey, listen, let me tell you something. We the Rolls Royces of children's television. Now, guess what I did find out? I did find out that TMZ and Warner Brothers, Warner Brothers own TMZ. They're under the same umbrella as Cartoon Network.
Interesting.
We the Rolls Royces, baby. We are the Rolls Royces of children's television. And if quiet on the set think that nobody is going to go and watch Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus to watch their favorite Nickelodeon shows, those producers are stupid, because it's not going to happen. They're not gonna shut Nickelodeon down. They're not gonna close Disney down. They have too many branches, too many umbrellas. People are still gonna go to Disney World. They're gonna still be going to Universal Studios. Like, what was the point? What was the point? Dan Schneider is still a genius. You can still go and watch Kyle Massey on That's So Raven. You can still go and watch Christopher on Paramount Plus, on Zoe 101 and Zoe 102. And you can now watch him streaming on Stars, on BMF. Like, what did it do other than make you look stupid by saying mean, horrible things, telling somebody to go kill themselves, when it's kids that's really doing that, harming themselves every day? So what about the people that's out there that's not as headstrong as me?
I feel like I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask just for the record, do you regret having your children go into the industry?
Absolutely not. Because we got in the business because of other people already in the business saying, we think that your kids will be good at this. And in fact, everybody that knows me and all the producers, I was kicking and pushing back. I was like, I don't think this is a good idea. Not that I didn't think that they would do a good job, but because Kyle was so headstrong, if he didn't want to do something, he wasn't going to do it. And Christopher was already in the business. And I didn't want Kyle to mess Christopher up by them wanting Kyle, and then Kyle, one day he just don't feel like doing it anymore. I was the one. And if you look at Kyle's Dancing with the Stars finale package, the director, the executive producer, her name was Danielle, and she basically did the package. And she said, I told them no. They hired him anyway. They were like, look, Mom, I think he's going to be just fine. They were the ones that said, I think that he would do a great job by going to California and competing with the professionals, because they were from California and they came to film here on location in Atlanta, and we booked the job. And the people all the producers were from LA. So we did our very first job in Atlanta.
Okay.
And then it was a 20-week commitment, and we finished the second week in November. And we went to California the day after Thanksgiving 2000, and we never came back full time since. 24 years ago, 32 years in the business, pre-social media.
So just in conclusion, because I appreciate your passion.
Yeah.
I appreciate your sharp responses. there's going to be some parents watching this, that want their children to be in the same position that yours have also been able to see as far as success. What's maybe like 3 nuggets of wisdom so that they can avoid situations that these other children are now coming out saying that happened to them?
So I'm going to spin that question differently.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to, if I answer your question, that means I'm co-signing on what they said. And I'm not going to co-sign because I don't know the truth.
Fair.
And the only reason that I'm not going to...
Can we at least say something has happened to a kid in Hollywood?
I'm not going to co-sign on something that I don't know for sure.
That's fair.
So what I will say is this. I will say that becoming a child star and a star child's mom is the same responsibility as any good parent will do for their child, for his or her child. You're going to put your child in a position to win, and then while they're winning, you're going to be there to protect them. So don't turn your baton over to somebody else, and then when they blow up in your face, you want to blame the entity. The rules are parents are supposed to be parents full time, right? So you have some parents that send their kids away, and I'm saying this to say, send their kids away intentionally. They don't. Some of them don't have to work. They don't have a job. Some of them send them away because they don't want to be bothered. So you can't do that in show business. You can't have it on both sides and be right. Either you want the commitment to be a full-time parent. Full-time means 12 hours a day on a set, not being able to go to the mall, not being able to go to your favorite restaurant, not being able to go hang out with your friends, not being able to go home and take a nap. You gotta be in it to understand that this is what it is. Because if something goes wrong, ultimately with anything in life, it still always falls back on the parents. It always falls back on the parents, because the rules of Screen Actors Guild and child labor laws are you are supposed to be within sight and sound of your child at all times on the set. You have a right, except for when they're in the classroom. That's the rule.
Yeah.
So when you turn your child over to somebody else and you really don't know them, that's on you. It's different if you're dropping them off at a daycare center and something happens, because kids are defenseless.
Right.
But the things that you have control over, you need to control them. That's what I would say. But it's no different than when you put your kids in gymnastics, track and field, football, baseball, little league, t-ball, basketball, swimming, gymnastics, dance. Cheerleading is big business. Those the cheerlead volleyball. I go into my girlfriend's volleyball games, it'd be 50 courts over a whole weekend. Those parents, the girls are tall, some of them are short. That's big. Extracurricular activity for your kids is big business. It gives them structure. It gives them diversity. You find out where their strengths and weaknesses are. You can't find out where your kids' strengths and weaknesses are if they're not a part of anything. How can you gauge where they're strong and where they're weak if you don't have anything to gauge it with? You understand? And so I would say being a good parent means that, and not all the time are you going to always be able to be there, but if I was on the set right now, you would not even be on a short or long list of somebody to watch my kid. Right. And I met you, I think you're a nice person, but you're not a guy that I'm going to say, call and say, you know what, John, can you watch Christopher and Kyle for me today? Because I got something to do. I got to go to work. You're not going to be on that long and short list to watch my kids.
Right.
So when you do have to compile a list, make sure it's a list of substance and not just convenience, because you don't want to be a full-time mom or dad in the interim of being on television. Because we do a lot of hurry up and wait. We have to get to set. We have to be there 12 hours. Sometimes our kids may not go on set till 9th hour of the 12.
Yeah.
You understand? So it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, Miss Angel Massey, thank you for your first one-on-one with Hype Plus, also known as Comedy Hype. This was a great, insightful, and I'm glad that you were able to set the record straight. And hopefully, people get to hear from you, and I'm sure there'll be some comments. But with that being said, thank you again for your time.
You are so welcome.